I'm genuinely not here at the moment. I'm gone until like Wednesday-ish for now. Those of you that are new to viewing me, I've been out here for 3 years. And the reason that you have not heard of me prior, because I begged other people to talk. The majority of the talking heads that you're probably watching now and have been, myself and Non-Vaxxer 420 have begged them to talk about the biodigital convergence deployment because the people that you're watching have been driving narratives. And that's part of how they keep the population controlled, quelled, or herded by their opinions, their echo chamber, into the direction they want them to be thinking or where they want their actual focus. So the main question that I get all the time is, well, it's great that you tell us all this, but why the hell do we want to know if you, meaning me, don't have a solution? This is our warfare doctrine. So you don't need to know about it. You don't need to know how the drone actually hunts you, because we're not at war right now and we're not worried about China, Russia, etc., blah, 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 right? That's number one. Number two, how are we supposed to have solutions when we can't even talk about the problem? See, you got to admit the problem first. In reality, they're not doing that. They haven't been. 5 years. So I am a disabled person for 20 years. And this entire online, whatever you want to call it, was originally my video blog with my friend in Tennessee. And then because I was honest, instead of narrative driving with everybody else, I incurred a bunch of people watching me. And I said, do not subscribe, you may not donate, and do not email me. Here's a TechMetric PDF. Go assess your environment to your best ability. And I teach biofield practice, which is you connecting with your own anatomy. So if you're able to feel your own skin and do piloerection, which I got white papers and such too for those of you that lie about it, because the biofield is anatomical. Most people grew up believing that the human aura was some sort of spiritual woo-woo. It's called bioelectromagnetics. It's the study of electromagnetic fields and a living organism. Are you a living organism? Is your body electrical? It's called bioelectricity. So I thought I would be off this topic in 2 weeks. No. 3 years later, they're still lying about the warfare doctrine, lying about biosensors, and then everybody comes to me and starts yelling at me for talking at all. And then they want to know, well, what are we supposed to do? Well, it would have been helpful if everybody else felt like you do. But in case you haven't noticed, they don't. They're not worried about it. In fact, they go out of their way to make sure that you are dumbed down, ignorant to our current warfare doctrine. They lie to you and tell you that we're going to come kick your door down. We're not even using systems like that. It would be a risk in multiple ways of our resources, our soldiers. And in the Pentagon Law of War, it's very clearly articulated that we don't waste resources and we don't risk the lives of our soldiers unless we have to. Okay? So that's why I get confused. Why is it that everybody's looking at me going, what do we do? Well, maybe you need to go talk to the people who've been lying to you. I'm not kidding. Because they're the ones that are stalling everyone out, keeping them like this, waiting on aliens and other things. I'm not doing that. I told you point blank, that's what it is. That's where it is. It's engineering. It's got market share. And then I give you the resources. You can read for yourself because everybody's DNA and environment is different. Bioelectromagnetics. That's your interaction with electromagnetic fields, like your Wi-Fi. It's really not okay to put this work on me when they're the ones that should have been talking. They have been belligerent. They have been physically harmful. They have been nasty. And yet I'm still the only one sitting here with non-vaxxer 420 being like, are you going to admit this? So when Trump came out to the podium and said, take your cancer away in 48 hours, they continued to misrepresent what he said. I didn't. Non-vaxxer didn't. So essentially, I'm sorry to those of you that still do this. I need a solution. You need to go talk to the people that sold you bullshit and start demanding from them that they start talking about reality. No more of this narrative driving with vaccine horseshit. You need to talk about the sensor systems that we've had deployed for 30 plus years. These are jobs, market share. So you tell me, what's the solution? People believe in their Wi-Fi, don't they? Do you believe in the wireless your phone uses, or are you waiting for a little text message to pop out the ass of your phone with little wings on it, flying to your router? You know, this is an example of a router, okay? You see that it has an antenna on it? Yeah? All right. Your eyes only see 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum. They've dominated the electromagnetic spectrum for 60 years, 6 decades. Your body is on that electromagnetic spectrum. So is your microwave. So is an X-ray machine. So is your AM/FM radio. So it's called bioelectromagnetics, and it interfaces with a piece of human anatomy called the human biofield on the National Institute of Health. You might have called it the aura. They would have called it woo-woo, so that they can go to work uninterrupted, writing algorithms for the biosignals that your body generates naturally. This is called electronic warfare. Is Lockheed broke? No. Did Lavender AI, were they LARPing? When all the people cried about how the AI in drone systems hunted down individual bodies in homes? They're not LARPing. People died. Yeah, because it's drone warfare since the Gulf War. So for me, I'm tired of being asked for solutions. When all of you out there that do it, you keep running back under the skirts of the same frauds, shills, and liars that have put you in this position. I didn't put you in this position. I told the truth about a warfare doctrine, drone warfare, engineering of systems that we use with our medical industries, automation, and man, all over the place. From the Nintendo Wii to Pokemon Go, and you're all still sitting there. Every time it's somebody new, this is always what you do. I don't have a solution for you. Other than biofield practice, you can feel the signal and get out of the way. Because every time you slap on a wearable, every time you put on your haptic gear and all the rest, they have solutions to get around that. This is industrial ISR. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance with the intelligence community. So maybe you want to call the Secretary of Defense's office and say, hey, I don't want to be on the database for missile defense. Maybe you want to call DHS Biosurveillance. Tell them I don't want to be on the database for CBRN, a dirty bomb, an EMP, or the Iron Dome that came out of the mouth of Sean Hannity the other night. It's not appropriate anymore. I'm really tired of it. I'm not the one that lied to you, set you up, and sold you fake products. I'm not the one that told you nanotechnology was going to kill them all. I'm not the one that lied to you about nano.gov for 20 years of your tax money. And I'm not the one who has a digital twin called Adrian Dittman doing interviews on the InfoWars laughing at you. Because you don't even know what a digital twin is, most likely. So you have no idea they've had that. Who's they? The Pentagon. Bet you were thinking Illuminati or, Masons. No, the Pentagon. 50 years. And an FDA Modernization Act in Congress that's already passed to use the digital twin instead of drug testing on animals or you. That's precision AI healthcare. That's mHealth and eHealth. It's been deployed since the COVID. So what I would recommend to those of you that still do this, you need to go back to the people that lied to you and say, why the hell did you talk about this? What's going on? Why do I say that? Because if we can all talk about the problem, then maybe they'll want to give a solution. But I got bad news for you, all of you. Number one, the Bitcoin systems, your cryptocurrency, that's digital ledger technology. It's not going away because you're not giving up your cryptocurrency. Oh, now it gets better or worse. They're going to have a system in which it's called a bioeconomy, a tokenized bioeconomy. Nobody gets to say no. You're not going to be able to get out of the smart city agenda, which is already done and been upgraded to cognitive cities. That's the biodigital convergence. That's why those of us with children have been out here at all. But nobody seemed to care about children for real. They're busy running mouth about narratives, whatever it might be, to keep you distracted. As long as you're not talking about the fact, and it is a fact, that we're tethered to the cloud systems for 30 years commercially, meaning it's been 50 years, because DARPA does things a couple decades in advance, and then it's always the same. Well, I'm going to sue to get off the databases. You can't. It's a biosphere. They use the same sensor systems to modify the weather. And CBRN, blah, blah, blah. So what I would suggest is that we all start talking about, where'd our anatomy go? Why am I tethered to the cloud? How the hell do we get off of the cloud? And then they will tell you, all of them, you don't. It's missile defense, etc., etc. Oh, well, what are we supposed to do? I don't know. Nobody would talk about the problem except the disabled woman and a single dad up in Canada. That's why he and I, you don't see us with all this editing and screwing around. We ain't got time. We've been looking for mitigation and adaptation for 3 years. Nobody would discuss it properly, so what the college students worldwide and the business and the market share is doing great. And anybody who's upset about this, you're going to be told, get fucked. And you don't understand that because, again, where's your anatomy? Oh, I don't need to know about that. But I know everything about cryptocurrency and how it works. Bullshit. If people understood how these blockchain systems actually work, you would think more people would have stood up and been like, whoa. But because they don't know, and because now it's all about biological surveillance. We love you so much, we're going to be under your skin 24/7 with behavior modification. That started in January of 2023 formally, but the businesses were talking about it since 2020. They get to modify your behavior while you're sleeping. You're still talking about maybe lithium in the water. These are control systems agreed upon by every nation state for GDP. You might have heard of it. It has to do with the economy. That's why non-vaxxer and I, at least for me, I have a very different attitude in 2025. You've had 3 years to talk about this. If you're not talking about it and you're still running narratives and lying to people about biosensors, that's not my fault. So I don't want to hear about it. You take it back to the people you've been watching schmooze you. The ones you've been giving your money to. You ask them, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, put on my wearable. Or they'll give you a magic potion, a magic amulet, a magic hat, and you don't think the military has an answer for that? That's why people should have opened their mouth, but they're not going to. It's called human augmentation. You ain't gonna like that either, because it's mandated. They didn't give you a choice. But I didn't take the shot. That's a biocyber interface. They load balance bodies. So if someone around you took it, it's called biofield concurrence. It's bioelectromagnetics because your body's electrical. You got it now. And if you shared fluids with somebody, well, you definitely do. And then, did you breathe? Well, there's the nano and the smart dust to get the shot in you because it's not a shot. It's an interface. Nanotechnology is controlled by smart dust. And before you jump up and go, oh, it's a bioweapon, those people, they're infuriating. It's infuriating. It can be used that way. anything is a tool in a toolbox. Yeah. It can also be used to save your life from a dirty bomb. It can also be used for search and rescue. That's why it should be an educational dialogue, but we don't get that. We get called names ad hominem attacks and screamed at on the daily. Then the innocent good people show up and go, "What do we do?" And we're like, "I don't know what to tell you." They won't identify the problem. We can't get people on the same page because they're too busy scaring people and, driving the Diddy narrative. Can you explain to me how it's going to help you that Epstein, his friends, Diddy, Oprah, any of that, people go to jail? They already got away with it. So what's happening now? Codes and nodes. What's that? Intra-body communication. What's that? Sensor technology with drone warfare. See how this all goes together? Did you lie about human biology? Yeah. Did you hide it in academia for 100 years and call anybody who said aura a nut job? Yeah. Okay. Did human anatomy change in the last thousands of years? No. Then why aren't we allowed to say no? It's a good question. And once you're able to get the people you're watching lie to you to talk about the actual biodigital convergence, body area networks, sensors open system architecture, then maybe somebody will come up with a solution. But now you've got your AI people screaming about AI for good. They just completely rolled right over what they just did with the blockchain. Your cryptocurrency was created by the National Security Agency. And your artificial intelligence that you think you just got your hot little hands on with language models, etc., they don't give you anything before DARPA's fully tested it. The military always has things that you'll never see. That means DARPA's testing things right now that even the military does not have. So if I was serious, if I was someone who's sincere and has children, I'm looking for that anatomy. Then I'm looking for my own environment. And then the next piece of shit who tells me that I'm crazy for being able to feel my own somatoform. I'm no longer, "Oh, well, I guess you don't know." Now I'm looking at the amount of money in there. There's a huge amount of money in these systems. How else would you hide them for 50 years? So I don't want to hear this anymore. You want solutions? You go bang down their door. And when they lie to you, well, that's their choice. Then it becomes your choice if you want to continue being gaslit. That's all there is to it. And here on the channel, if we find anything, you'll know. The synergist will be the first to know. Otherwise, I've noticed that all of them, even the wrong tip of the spear InfoWars, get used to AI. It's here. Deal with it. Aren't you watching the Doja in the White House? The majority of your government is already run by artificial intelligence. That's why lying about this for the 3 years I've been online is egregious. They're not going to quit. It's to their advantage to keep you distracted. So go ask that question to somebody else. I've already given the amounts of data and the best solution I can think of on an individual basis so that people can actually do something real instead of sit in your kill box. 2005 is when since they've had that, and wait to be called. And if they tell you that they're coming for your guns, I would be asking about that electronic warfare immediately. And I'd be like, how does the drone hunt me down for real? Infrared, infrasound, LiDAR. Is that it? Or is there a network-centric system here? Because it's a distributed system of systems with my cute little cryptocurrency. And then there's this whole thing about a geofence. And they said 15-minute perimeter. And none of you stopped and were like, oh, well, how would they implement that? They're going to send police out to come and collect you and take you back to your house because you only get to walk your feet, not a car. You don't get to own a car. In a 15-minute city, you have a 15-minute perimeter. Well, I just won't take my phone. I won't wear my wearables. Yeah, they use air molecules and smart dust. just like they do with their NFT and their blockchain currency. Right. So if you leave your 15-minute perimeter, you mean if you try, what will happen to you? Where's your solution for that? These are very serious discussions that needed to be had before they fully deployed this 30 years ago. They've been upgrading ever since, uninterrupted. And now they're augmented. They're not going to stop, and they're not going to turn it back. It's synthetic biology. So lying to everyone about the vaccines and all that, that was so you didn't find out anything about what I just told you. Then you're trapped. Welcome to military operations. Now go find a solution somewhere else. Oh, and don't forget the Synergy Typometric PDF. Make sure you download that and take it with you. That way when they screech and yowl, you'll have actual mathematical empirical data to go off of. Good luck.